Welcome to Empowered to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan and Basha, the business doctor. Following our conversations with empowered women who woke up one day and consciously claimed, I am more than enough, I am worthy, I am empowered to grow. And along their empowering journey towards realizing their own potential and their quest for growth, they became a beacon of hope and guidance for others. May you also find your inner power to grow. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Empowered to Grow. This is your host, Hanan and Basha. Today, I have the good fortune of crossing paths with Jessica Dahlberg, all the way from Australia. And she's Swedish, so let's just say that, we're talking about international waters over here. And Jess transformed herself, and her mission took her from corporate career in HR with a master's degree and everything focused there to saying, I still want to continue within the same performance field and coach people for high performance and kind of achieving the best version of themselves possible. And I think this is what got us talking in the first place, Jess. It's kind of ambition, performance, going beyond your own parameters. Welcome to the show, Jess. Thank you for accepting my invitation.
Oh no, thank you very much for having me here. It's an honor, definitely, and and also speaking to your audience. It's a great honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so Empowered to Grow. When I asked you to come up on the show, and I said it's dubbed Empowered to Grow. What does that phrase mean to you? How does it resonate with you?
Yeah, I think empowered to grow, performance, like some people have, when I talk to some of my clients, one of the questions that I ask is, when I say high performance, what does that bring up for you? And for a lot of people, it's good things, but for a lot of people as well, it's performance is kind of pressure, extending myself, doing too much, being seen to be everything for everyone, all those kinds of things. Well, that's not really what performance is. And so for me, performance is that empowerment. In fact, the way we define high performance in the coaching framework that I work to or that I coach in, we call it this, it's above norm performance, sustained over the long term, whilst maintaining well-being and positive relationships. And unless you have all of those kind of three pieces in place, it's not high performance. It's not being empowered to be the best version of who you can be.
I love that because I speak of that a lot. It's like, as you said, it's not about go, go, go. It's not being about getting on the hamster wheel and not getting off. It's about understanding that there are other elements in your life that you need to cater for as well to be able to optimize your performance and optimize your way of living, in essence.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've all heard the stories and a lot of cultures as well, and a lot of societies is really putting that, that you, and particularly for women, I guess, that, you need to be working really hard, doing all of it and look fabulous at the same time. Like it's that kind of stuff. Well, it's not real, and it's not being authentic, and it's not healthy in the long run, and you can't do it over a long period. In some way, shape, or form, you mentally or physically, you're going to suffer the consequences. So
that's true. That's my personal story. Coming back from burnout is hard because that's it. It's like the illusion, I think, or the delusion that we've been made to believe, the conditioning we're having, and of course, social media isn't helping now with everyone at their best looks, best house, best everything. It is about that you have to be at your best, at your peak, catering for everyone else all the time. Whilst in essence, the secret is to stop and to prioritize yourself, at least for a portion of the day, to be able to get to that best part of what you can, the output actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and then, people say, well, do this, do that. And even that can become pressure sometimes.
That's true.
It's like, you got to find really the path or the different aspects of those things, like yes, I want to perform, I want to be empowered, I want to do what's important to me and to express myself. but also, for me, for example, I love, yoga is my thing, and surfing. They're two things that kind of keep me focused on my well-being, my health. And then, I don't know about other people, but I'm one of those people. I love what I do. And so, it's hard sometimes to step away, but also taking time for relationships, for my family and for other things. So, yeah.
Yeah, God bless. So, okay, you're empowered to grow, and you're also empowering others to grow. Would you tell us a bit about your story, please?
Sure. So it was, I guess, not so much, like definitely as a HR person, for me, I really believe that there is a way for us to go to work and feel happy going to work.
Yes.
Now, most of the studies around the world will tell you that most people are not happy at work. And so, my work in the corporate HR environment has very much been centered around that. I really believe that, that's possible to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of, I guess, how I came to this point was really more from a personal sort of perspective. After, my daughter, I've got 4 daughters. And so one of my daughters became, had serious mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
And over a period of a few years, to the point where I actually left my career. I left my job and decided that I was just going to focus on her. And so between myself and my husband, that's what we decided I was going to do. And so for a good 12 to 15 months, that's what I was doing. And there was a very traumatic time where I really didn't know from one day to the next what was going to happen to this person. That was the most precious thing that I had. And I was really fearful for her. And so coming out of that, and then, lots of things kind of caused myself and my husband to decide that, we weren't really fit for each other anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I then stepped into divorce. And at the time I wasn't working. And just the whole kind of practical aspects of, well, I'm going to have to find somewhere to live. And, we had a house and we had to sell the house. And there was so much. And I realized coming out of that or standing in that, I realized how, first of all, that I had a huge opportunity, like to create from this point on with, being on my own. But on the other side, absolute fear and really not knowing kind of what my next step was going to be.
Yeah.
And that's when I was fortunate enough to have a friend of mine who had just become a certified high performance coach, which is what I am. And he said to me, Jess, this will be perfect for you. You need that path forward. You don't have that clarity. Like there's things in your life that's happened in your life that is holding you back. This may open the door for you. And so I stepped in and did that coaching with him for about 6 months. And I can tell you that, and then the ongoing work that I've been doing since then is like, I can tell you that there's no way that I'll be doing what I'm doing now without that coming into my life. And that's why I'm passionate about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And of course, also being able to lean on the fact that I have been coaching leaders in the corporate environment for a long time. And so I'm very comfortable in that space.
Mm-hmm.
But this was just something else because it was a clear structure and a path forward, which is often what we look for in those situations.
That's true. And as you said, it needs just one nudge in your path to understand, hang on a second, there is this one. I haven't seen this path before, but it just makes so much sense because I felt the same way after having my first coaching call. And it was, the coach stopped me and he's like, why are you using this statement over and over again? Not good enough. I was like, oh my God, that was like, mind-blowing revelation. And that got me on a completely different trajectory just because I needed to understand the root cause of why I'm thinking that way or why I was behaving, and understanding that everything I had been seeking until that point in time was not for me, was not for my own gratification. It was for my external validation. And that got me, like, it really shifted my thinking. And kind of that's how I support women now. But more importantly now, understanding that there's the business part as well to it. So they want to start their own business. They just don't know. They don't feel worthy. They don't feel they can do it. And it's getting that frame of mind in, and then the technicalities on strategies and tricks just falls into place beyond that. So, okay. So from where you stand now, and as you said, it kind of you growing into your own space as you were meant to be. What advice would you impart on your 19-year-old self?
To be aware of the fear. Be aware of the I guess what comes at me in the environment where it's that kind of fear culture, like, take out that insurance because something might go wrong,
Yeah.
or don't do that because what will they think, or don't take that bold step because there's uncertainty. You don't know what's going to happen if you do that. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. Definitely be aware of that fear language that is both coming at me and that is creating myself.
Yes. So recognizing it, do you think that by recognizing it, that's the first step to start dissecting it?
Yeah, to then start to make decisions to say, look, what am I, if I'm going to be stepping in as my most, bold and empowered self, then what decision should I really be making here? Is it valid for me to have that fear? Like, is it valid to be a little bit risk averse here? Or is it valid to step in boldly and go, look, whatever happens, happens. And I know that I'm strong enough that I can figure it out.
Yeah, I get you. So, okay, the other end of the spectrum then, what would you like from a time capsule perspective, your 90-year-old self to thank you for today?
To thank me for?
Yep.
Yeah. That I dared to be bold and that I dared to take this, like starting my business, coming out of divorce, reestablishing myself in myself, not just, doing my own work, but also being fortunate enough that I attracted the right people into my life, to help me on that journey. But that I am the one who've been facing my fears. Like, I'm the one who's, like it took me nearly 2 years for me to have the courage to step out and do a Facebook Live.
Yes.
Like, an online business.
I feel you.
I mean, like, how can you do that? And so, like, it's those types of things, and just knowing that the more I do it, and the more I realize that even if it goes a bit, not quite the way I want, every single time I've been able to figure it out.
Yes.
I think that's, and hopefully going forward that will continue, but it's just that continuous building of, like pushing the boundaries and doing more and more and more. And then of course you start to meet people like yourself and other people that, I would never have come across otherwise.
That's true. So, that's true.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep saying I'm blessed that, as you said, that I showed up. I stepped out of a few comfort zones, let's say that. And by doing that, as you said, you're attracting people into your life that I wouldn't have met else otherwise. Social media has been portrayed as the villain for most part of our adult lives right now. But at the same time, it's a facilitator, it's a connector, it's a channel for us to find voices that kind of resonate with us and kind of say, you're on the right track, let's do this together. And I speak a lot, and I'm a huge believer in collaboration. And I believe that even if we're doing the same thing on paper, we're still presenting it in completely different ways, and we're delivering it in as individualistic as possible. And that in itself is fascinating, that our uniqueness does not make us compete with one another. It makes us complement one another.
Yes. Yeah. And that's something that I think, And even for myself, I have to remind myself sometimes that the a sense of that imposter syndrome,
Sure.
like, who am I to be doing this? Like, who am I to be having this conversation? And like, it was just featured in Yahoo Finance, and I'm going, like, who am I to do this? But like, as I was making it's a no-brainer. I was going, I don't know, should I do this? I'm going, come on, Jess, it's a no-brainer. Of course you should. Of course you should. But again, it's just so easy to have that kind of fear language sometimes.
Yes.
You just got to step involved and keep building.
And as you said, as women as well, we're more vulnerable to that feeling, to that imposter syndrome and everything because of the conditioning. And I was telling one of my clients recently, she's like, I'm not sure, and the men and the coaching and stuff. I'm like, when was the last time you heard a man referring to another man saying, oh, who does he think he is? Look at him starting his own business. She's like, oh my God, that sounds so weird when you said it from a man's perspective. I'm like, exactly. They're not conditioned to think that way. We are. And we stop ourselves in our own paths. And when we open up and we embrace our unique gifts and our core competences, that makes us unstoppable. We just have to believe in ourselves. And as you said, I have to remind myself all the time that I am competent, I am worthy, I know my stuff. I've been doing this for 20 plus years, and I earned my place in the spotlight. It's just that I have to step into it now.
Yeah. It's that allowing yourself to step in there. Yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. Well, talking of spotlights, my question is, you're on a stage and you're speaking to tens of thousands of women, and the topic is about being empowered to grow. What would be that last message you kind of leave them with?
Wow, that's a big question. It's a big question. Well, it comes back to that sort of sense of boldness, really for me. It's like, there we are, in my view, there is so much fear around, at every level.
Yes.
And so it's about turning that into a bold statement of yourself, like whatever that is for you. And it's going to be different for everyone. Like, bold for some people can be just to step outside. Bold for some people will be to step on a stage. Bold for some people it's going to be something completely different. But whatever that bold thing is, to ask that question every day, what's one bold thing that I can do today? Just get you out of that whatever cage you've put yourself in.
I love that, and that's true. And as you said, each bold movement is very unique to us, and it really depends on our own worldview lens, and it depends on our own limiting beliefs and everything we stopped ourselves with. So kind of the unique blocks that we've got for ourselves. Well, this has been really fun. And I love that, you drop a lot of nuggets of value in there. Where can our viewers and listeners find you in virtual space?
So I've got, my business name is Jess Dahlberg Coaching. So just my name, Jess Dahlberg Coaching, and I'm under that name on my website and on my Facebook and Instagram. So that's where you will find me. I'm probably most active, and the same on LinkedIn. I'm probably most active in my tribe, so on my Facebook group, which is called Conscious Ambition.
I love that. And you have a free guide as well for everyone on our end.
I do. Yes. Always want to give values. It's kind of a done for you guide of 3 high performance habits that I guess put together because I found that these are 3 that people really struggle with, and that is really helpful. And so
they are I've gone through it, and it is there's a lot of value there, so thank you for that. We're going to have all the links in the show notes, so if you're listening and watching, please check the show notes for the links and find Jess over there. And she's definitely She adds a lot of value, and I know you do the lives. Is it once or twice a week that you go live on your Facebook group?
Yeah, once a week at the moment, but yeah, it used to be twice a week, and I'll probably go back to that because it's now I'm enjoying it. Like now I'm kind of so much energy from it.
Now I'm stepping into it. Okay, I can do this.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah.
Happy to have had you here. Thank you so much, Jess, and thank you for all the value you've added and for sharing your energy with me.
Thank you very much.
Well, as we always say, empowered you empowers others, but understanding that an empowered version of you is one that optimizes your performance, prioritizes yourself, and understands that you've got so much more to give, but don't compromise on you, your health, your wellness, your relationships, and everything else that comes along with it. Thank you for joining us today. I wish you love, abundance, and prosperity, and we'll catch you next time. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Empowered to Grow podcast. For further engagement with a tribe of empowered women, join my Facebook group, Empowered to Grow, or visit my website, www.hananulbasha.com. I'll catch you on the next episode, and until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.